I'm Stephen John Drew from the official GonnaGeek.com podcast, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 545 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, December 31st, 2023. It's almost 2024. Almost 2024. We've almost made it, barring some crazy terrible set of events where we don't make it to tomorrow. We'll have made it successfully another year on this podcast. So go team. My name is Chris. I am joined as per usual with the typical band of misfits. We'll start first with Mr. Willie D. Nelson.
Ooh, I come from the ether.
For those on the audio podcast, Willie's camera was having issues this week, so he is just an animated avatar on the video feed this week.
From the ether.
But don't worry, this gentleman is not coming from the ether, Mr. Anthony Bachman.
Hello, sycophants, affiliates, and crumpin' boys. Willie's been huffing ether.
I mean, maybe.
From the ether, I shall rise again.
From the ether, he shall smite you.
I'm high on ether, baby.
I think him and his laptop spent the morning huffing, and that's the problem.
Is it ether, or is it just like the keyboard spray cleaner?
Sorry, I misspoke. It's straight up gasoline I'm huffing.
He's in a George Miller movie. He's just high on gas.
There'll be no smiting today. We'll be nice. We'll be nice. No smiting.
You are lucky, Naki. I don't know how to play Smite.
Isn't it a PC only game? You'd be kind of screwed, Willie.
No, it is not. It is also on consoles.
Well, you should get on the consoles and learn, and then you can.
I've tried.
Did you watch any tutorials on the YouTube?
Being high on ether fumes does not make it easy.
Okay, that's fair.
The headaches are also a pain, let me tell you.
I was huffing glue yesterday.
I hope there's some context behind that.
He gets it.
We'll find out at the end of the show.
Building miniatures.
That's what I had hoped for. Before we get into things, just a heads up. This is going to be a slightly different episode than normal, seeing as we're doing this on New Year's Eve. We're going to try and recap some of the most interesting things happened here in the past year of 2023. So we're not really going to be doing news of the week. We may not do as much what I'm into because there's a lot of crap that happened in 2023, Some of it good, some of it bad, many of it insane. Some of it I probably didn't even think of when I was putting my list together. So we'll have some fun with that. But before we get into the best of 2023, I got to ask, guys, how was your Christmas? Did you have a good time with your families? Did you make out with any stripper rolls of cash this year, Bachman?
There were no stripper rolls, but there were plague marines. The Death Guard has arrived. Yeah, we did that same game where we got the stripper roll last year, but we played with poker chips. So the winner got to choose the prizes, but they did not get to run away with a large wad of cash like normal. And I think it was mainly because, my mother-in-law, Linda, who sets up and runs all the games for Christmas, she had a heart attack this year, was kind of busy, and didn't do like her normal amount of shopping and stuff. She was doing rehab. So yeah, my in-laws have had some health problems this year. So it was very nice that they were both like both in good spirits and in good health at Christmas. So it was really good to see them because my father-in-law lost a bunch of weight. He was on that weird ass weight loss pill that everybody was taking there for a while, and it made
that Ozempic.
Yeah. And so it helped with like his diabetes and his weight, but it was also giving him like pain to where like he couldn't use his hands. And then he got to the point where he basically couldn't walk. And so, yeah, they finally got him off of that, and now he's feeling much better. So, yeah, they both had a health scare this year and then ended up having a great Christmas. So it was really nice to see them and see them healthy. Because, yeah, crazy fucking year for my in-laws.
Yeah. So that Ozempic, I've heard in many cases, it's worse than what it's trying to fix for a lot of folks. Some people it works perfectly with issues, but some people seem to just have terrible reactions to it. Not immediately, but later down the road. And then other people are like, it's like a weight loss magic pill for me. And I'm like, but that's what it's designed for. It's not designed to make you lose weight. It's designed to help with diabetes.
Well, I mean, the VA still gives out an antidepressant for people quitting smoking because it helps some people quit smoking, and other people like me, it makes you hear fucking voices in your head that aren't you.
You're Randy Orton?
Yeah.
I was going with that Ryan Reynolds movie, Voices. I think it was called Voices, where he's talking to his animals and starts killing people.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, when I decided to quit smoking when I was 30, the VA gave me a prescription, a giant jug of whatever the antidepressant was that they give people. And it does. It helps a lot of people quit smoking. A lot of people have quit smoking taking this drug. You build it up in your system, and then it helps you kind of focus, I guess, when you're trying to give up nicotine. And I was one of the people, after about a week and a half, 2 weeks of taking it, I started hearing voices in my head that were not my internal monologue.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying.
And yeah, I threw that fucking bottle away real quick, and I went cold turkey. And I haven't had a cigarette in 15 years.
Nice.
So, coming up on 16 next week. Yeah, it was. Some pills work great for some people and do weird shit for other people. So
I assume if Willie's camera was on right now, he'd be lighting up a cigarette.
No, I've already spoken one.
He was smoking earlier, yeah.
Listen, but I know the health risk involved, and I'm all right with it. It's your personal responsibility to know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with.
That's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair. I guess, Willie, how was your Christmas time?
I actually had a gigantic win. I actually got something for my mom that she actually liked for the first time in my life. So you see, my mom's one of those people. If she wants it, she already has it. If she don't got it, I can't afford it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but I actually got something for her this year that she likes.
Nice. Some people
well done.
And there'll be a tease for what that is later on.
Ooh, tease. My Christmas was also pretty good. We did it early with my folks, and we'd already done it with my wife's folks before that. So our Christmas day consisted of playing video games, watching Violent Night, and I don't even remember what we ate chicken and dumplings that my wife made in the crock pot that morning. So we pretty much just lazed around all day, and it was delightful.
How did you and the wife like a Violent Night?
Look, I knew what I was getting into, so I had fun with it. Let's not delude ourselves that Violent Night is like the cinematic masterpiece. It's just a fun, stupid, everybody dies movie, and I had fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah. But for a fun, stupid, everybody dies movie, it's actually kind of touching. I thought that they did a really good job handling the whole like, oh, well, fuck these people, I'm just going to let them die. And then like Santa sees the little kid inside. It's like, shit, that's a kid. And it's a kid that believes. Well, I got to kill all these motherfuckers. Like I thought it was because I didn't expect there to be anything touching at all. I thought it was just going to be a slaughter fest. The whole script is actually really well written, and the action sequences are fucking fantastic. And who doesn't love a man that's a surgeon with a sledgehammer?
Right. I guess I was on a David Harbour kick though, because then like the next day I wanted to watch a movie. I watched Gran Turismo on Netflix finally, which was the one that's based off of the story. Yeah, it's on Netflix now. It's actually really good. Yeah, we have a movie Wreck from Naki, Lord of Misrule on Amazon, a delightful horror thriller. They watched it on Christmas for their Christmas celebration.
Lord of Misrule. Well, let's add that.
I have a new movie I saw coming up later.
Watch it on Amazon before you start getting ads, because the ads start in the new year.
Bastards.
Oh, shit. You have 12 and a half hours. Fuck.
Right. I don't know. I only watch Amazon Prime for Reacher, The Boys, and Gen V. So whatever. If they front load the ads, I'll get over it real easily.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm trying to think, because I think Hulu right now is the only thing we watch with ads. And it's weird because it's the only time we'll be watching a movie and all of a sudden it'll stop and go to commercial. We're like, oh yeah, we're watching this on Hulu.
Yeah.
But and it's not like I didn't grow up with fucking commercials in my movies. So I'm used to it. I'm just not currently used to it. They have Amazon's going to become like Hulu because, of course, Bezos needs more money. Fuck you.
Right? They made record profits, but they've decided they need to charge more for ads now.
Yeah. They want to make ad money on top of everything else. But then again, you spend $4 billion for the Lord of the Rings rights and make a show that nobody watches. You got to recoup some ducats.
There's another show they might be potentially doing that I can't talk about live on the air, but remind me after the show and we can talk about it because, yeah,
all right.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be very interesting if it's true. Yeah, I don't have enough sourcing to the rumor that I want to talk about it on here until I find out more on it. But yeah, if it's true, whoo boy.
Nice.
That's how I'm going to put it that way.
Yeah,
but on that note, I guess we would normally transition to the news of the week. We're not going to do news of the week. We're going to do the recap of the year. I don't know. I didn't come up with a cool segment title for it or anything like that.
It's just what we've been into instead of what
Year
we're into.
in review.
Well, I mean, it's partly that. It's also partly here's some really cool or effed up stuff that happened that we should probably talk about. I mean, if we want to talk about some of the effed up stuff first, let's talk in video games, both the GTA 6 leak and the Insomniac leak, both of which were kind of devastating. And I did admire for some publications that were like, yeah, this Insomniac leak, we're not going to report on this because this isn't
As it
good
should
that
be.
this happened. Yes, there's a lot of facts and interesting stuff that came out as a result of that, but we shouldn't know that. We shouldn't know how the sausage is made. That Insomniac leak was brutal for them. All the stuff that came out there. Like there's a working version of the Wolverine game you can play on PC that's floating around the internet right now.
Yikes. So they did release game code?
They did release a working version of Wolverine. I don't know how old of a version it is, but in theory, people could be playing what is certainly not the final version of Wolverine.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Wolverine Origins all over again.
Hey, that was a good game.
The game was good. The movie sucked.
I'll say in the movie leak, because the
Yeah.
movie leaked before the CGI was done.
Yeah,
And then people were like,
isn't it-
"Oh, well, this movie sucks. I'm not going to go see it." It's like you watched a bootleg version on the internet where you're seeing CGI elements still in framework that didn't have texture on them. Of course, it looked bad.
Is there another example of a bad movie having a pretty damn good video game?
No, because it's usually always the video game that's the worst part for movie adaptations.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think. Like, that's the one where it's a bad movie, but great goddamn game.
I wish that game was backwards compatible so I could go back and play it. Like one of the coolest things about that game was
Wait.
as you're playing as Wolverine, like you see yourself getting shot and shredded and flesh falling off and just skeleton remains. And as you heal, you see your body heal while you're playing in game. It was really cool. And this is what, an Xbox One game?
No, 360. Can you not play it on the?
That's
new
right, Xbox. I don't think it was backwards compatible. I'm not 100%
How is
sure.
that not one of them?
I don't know.
That
Because
makes no
licensing?
sense.
Yeah. Licensing rights.
I mean, that hasn't stopped any of the other backwards capable games.
Yeah, it actually has stopped them because certain publishers didn't exist anymore, so
Fair
they couldn't
enough.
get the rights to bring it forward. And then also, music is a problem for a lot of these games. Is music was licensed for certain
Fair
console generations and things like that. So in theory, it's not something that could be relicensed easily in some cases for current generations of stuff.
I thought Xbox was all about just taking your old disc and putting in your new systems and having it just go.
And you can do that for many games, but not all games.
Well, I'm disappointed on one of the best ones there was.
They're more about that than Sony is.
I will double check
wrong.
and see whether I was wrong in my assumption on X-Men Origins, the game being backwards compatible here in a sec.
I
but yeah.
hope you are, because that Xbox deserves that great game to be backwards capable. Because Sony won't do it, the cowards.
No. Plus, yeah, I still don't believe that GTA 6 exists. It's just GTA 5 Part 2. There's only
until it
GTA 5.
releases.
There only will ever be GTA 5. It's the only GTA that's ever going to exist, ever.
Not
Okay,
even Red
so-
Dead 2 can take it over.
In regards to the X-Men Origins Wolverine game, you can play it on your old consoles, but as of September, it is not backwards compatible on Xbox consoles. In fact, it was delisted and removed from digital storefronts in 2014 after Activision's licensing deal with Marvel expired.
Wait. It was backwards capable, but they
No,
took it
it
off.
was not.
Oh, I thought you said it was
it was delisted and removed from digital storefronts in 2014. So the only way to play it right now is to find a physical copy and play it on an Xbox One or 360, whichever device.
Not Xbox One. It was not on PS. Well, it might have been on PS2. I'm not sure, but it definitely wasn't on Xbox. You know what? I got Google right here. I ain't on the camera.
You can't get it on Steam. You can't get it on Xbox or PSN or any of those things right now. The only way to get it is if you buy it as a disc. So I bet it's probably one of those ones that might cost a bit more. And then we're going to go on a fun diversion here as I pull up the eBay machine.
What's the eBay cost on it?
That's what I was going to look at before we move on.
$400, $400 to $500 games.
$50, $25, $40 buy it now, $35, $23 no case, $80 buy it now, free shipping, $50 buy it now, $10 shipping. So anywhere between $30 to $80 for X-Men Origins Wolverine.
All right, I got you here. All right, so
on Xbox,
it was released on PSP, Nintendo DS, PlayStation 2, the Wii, Windows, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. No original Xbox.
It seems as though it is more expensive for PS3 folks, as I just check on eBay, as the prices seem to be between $50 to $90 as I do a quick skim. So it seems they're cheaper and more available on the Xbox side of the house right now.
Hey, all I know is I'm happy because I have a copy for the PS3 of Ultimate Alliance 2 on my shelf.
I have a digital copy of it on my Xbox right now because they put it on sale for $5.
So do I.
And that way I didn't have to fish a disc out.
I don't know if I bought it on sale, but I got it before it delisted it again.
Yep. So did I.
So if anyone wants to play, oh wait, it's on Xbox for you. Shit. Well,
yeah, I don't
play Ultimate Alliance 2 with me online. I'll do it because I think those servers are still up.
I think they might be too. So let's go to the next leak. We touched on a little bit the GTA 6 leak. There was a couple, I think, on that one, but the most recent one was GTA 6 was like, hey, we're gonna have a trailer coming out. A dude hacked them and released the trailer like 12, 16 hours early. That guy is in a hospital, committed for the rest of his life, basically. Afterwards was the court decision on that. So, and did you guys see like how that worked? Like he'd been brought into custody for some other stuff, and I guess it was a combination of a Fire TV stick, a cell phone, and a keyboard that he used in his locked hotel room.
Yeah, in a hotel room
to hack and get the GTA 6 trailer and put it out to the public.
Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous. I read the
shitty computer to put out a fucking video image, and he gets to hack all of that with okay.
Yeah, and he can hack what's got to be one of a super secure server system.
Well,
with
my understanding,
a phone, and a keyboard.
My understanding, and perhaps it is incorrect, I might need to go and do some double checking on this, is it wasn't so much he got into their servers, but he got into their Slack and was able to get it out of there.
He killed them with a pencil.
Yeah, a pencil.
Something you just wouldn't expect, really?
Yeah.
Damn it, dude.
And it's gone.
I mean, I think that is one of the consequential stories of this year is Rockstar got hacked twice, Insomniac got hacked once. And I think we've gotten to the point where people are like, okay, the info is interesting that we're getting out of this, but this isn't cool, folks. And like the industry rallied around Insomniac to an extent.
Wait, hold on a second. Where was Matthew Lillard and Angelina Jolie at that time? The movie.
One was creating his own D&D game, and the other one was raising their children.
Yeah, could be.
They don't raise their own children. Get out of here. They got nannies.
I think Matthew Lillard's D&D game is now on Tubi also, as they did like a live action accompaniment or something like that.
Yeah. His is Beetle and Grimm's, I think.
Something like that.
And they're doing like a Critical Role thing where him and his lots of actor and voiceover friends are doing their D&D sessions live now.
Well, I mean, I also saw Fisher Stevens trying to tiptoe away, but I think we got him too.
So some other stuff in the gaming world, and this is kind of my own personal list of things I found interesting. We can of course supplement, and it may not match you guys who are watching or listening. Marvel Spider-Man 2. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a game I wasn't necessarily expecting to get to play because I wasn't 100% on board with buying a PlayStation 5, and this is where I'll toot my own lucky horn. I got mine for free. Thank you, Danhausen. Love that Danhausen. Professional wrestler with All Elite Wrestling. He did a giveaway on his Whatnot, and I won a PlayStation 5. Now, I've probably bought enough merch after that. I could have bought a PlayStation 5 myself, but hey, it works.
And then you wouldn't have the merch. Now you have the merch and the PlayStation.
Now I got merch and a PlayStation. So I was able to jump on to Spider-Man 2. I think I got the PlayStation like a month and a half beforehand. Was able to play Miles Morales because I hadn't played that on the PS4. And then I think about a week after I beat Miles Morales is when Spider-Man 2 came out and played the hell out of it. I know Willie's played through it. I don't know if Bachman's had a chance to play it yet.
Sadly, the only one of us with a Spider-Man tattoo hasn't played Spider-Man 2 yet.
Well, that's your misfortune.
I haven't bought the game yet. I'm waiting for a really good sale, and it didn't go on that much of a sale for Christmas. Plus, like I said, I'm about to finish Uncharted 4, and I have the full Mass Effect Legendary to play through, and then all 3 BioShocks.
And
what was the other one you wanted me to play?
The greatest game series known to man.
Oh, the dragon stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a dragon.
Yeah.
Start with Yakuza 0, though.
I have a ton of games to play, and I don't need to drop $80 on a new game, even though it does look cool. And I did replay Miles on the PS5 just for the fun of it, because, yeah, those games are awesome. I fucking love Insomniac. Between Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank, I think Insomniac's really the only reason at this point I'm a PlayStation fanboy and won't go to Xbox, is because I would want to buy a PlayStation just to get the new Ratchet and Clank or Spider-Man.
Yeah, been there. That was me last generation.
Yeah.
Wait. With that Insomniac leak, are we getting another Ratchet and Clank game anytime soon?
I just always assume there's another Ratchet and Clank in the works. They've done like 7. They're fucking awesome. They're the best platformers on the new gen consoles always.
Shooter platformers.
Ratchet. Yeah, shooter platform. Like Ratchet and Clank are they're fun games, and they're just plain fun.
We've got My Fave Tech on the YouTube channel chiming in saying happy Sunday, guys. Not sure what time it is where you are, but they're in Arizona at 9:35.
He's
Those
in my
lucky
time zone.
bastards.
Yep.
Yeah,
those lucky bastards have no fucking daylight savings time.
That's
You're
true.
not wrong.
Yeah. One of the
God,
smart
it was
states.
Arizona and who else? There's 2 states. It's Arizona.
Indiana is the other one that does it now. It's
I
a
can't
weird one in the
No, it's
middle.
not Indiana. I don't think so, because I have friends in Indiana and they never said about anything about being different times.
Maybe it's Iowa. I remember it was one of the weird ones in like Central America.
Central America?
Well, yeah, they're in the middle of the country. They're not the Midwest.
Mexico?
You know what the Midwest is?
Because Naki was saying Indiana too. She thought it was.
Yeah.
Indiana? Let me see. I'm looking this up.
Yeah, I'm not going to call anything east of the Mississippi the Midwest. You know what Midwest is? Colorado. That's the Midwest.
I love Colorado.
If you're on that side of Texas, you are not fucking Middle America. You're Central America.
Right. Back to Spider-Man 2, though. While I enjoyed the game, I will be the first to admit there are some flaws with it, some of which they are working on. And prior to the hack, they were working on the first major patch and update, and that had gotten pushed off until the beginning of 2024. Mostly what I'm looking forward to is New Game Plus, because I want to replay the game, but I'm not sure I want to restart from scratch replaying the game, because some of those things you have to go and collect, like all the little robot spiders and things like that, it's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to do it again. So I want New Game Plus.
They weren't that bad.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Did you play which was it was one of the ones on Xbox 360, I think. It might have been Web of Shadows. Was that the one where you collected the 1,000 spider icons that floated spinning in the air?
That's where some people collected 1,000 spider icons.
No.
Yes, didn't.
Once you collected 1,000 of them, the second 1,000 appeared.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the Amazing Spider-Man movie games, I think?
It might have been. It might have been like Amazing Spider-Man 2. I can't remember which game it was.
I never
but yeah.
played any of them, but that sounds like it might be more of those, but it could be Web of Shadows. I'm sorry.
After that, I can't really complain about collectibles in Spider-Man games again, because literally you collected 1,000 floating spider icons, and when you got number 1,000, 1,001 through 2,000 appeared. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That was the biggest kick in the balls I ever got in a Spider-Man game. But yeah, I'll never complain about collectibles again after that, because I collected all 2,000 of them.
So that studio definitely looked up how to pad game time.
Yeah, they did.
That was my thoughts.
Yeah, they did.
So how do we add more gameplay time? By having them not actually play the game and just roam around and get shit. Oh, cool.
Running around, little floating icons.
That's where I'll give him credit for Spider-Man 2, is it's not like you had to go super out of your way for a lot of the collectibles and stuff that was out there. But I don't mind doing it once. I don't necessarily want to do it again. That's why I like New Game Pluses, because I don't have to do it all again.
Yeah, you can play the game again without having to do all the collectible stuff. Insomniac is good about that, though. Usually, because like on Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, on Miles, you can really do like the take the photos, collect the hidden items, most of that as you're going through and actually playing the story. You basically path along where all those hidden items are. So if you want to, you can kind of just collect as you go and just get everything done while still playing the story game, which is nice. They do that fairly well.
Let's see. Other stuff I wanted to touch on, just surprising to me, Cyberpunk 2077's resurgence with the Phantom Liberty DLC. If this is the game that had come out originally 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it would be a very different conversation we'd be having. I still have my own heartburn over the fact that with this last patch, they basically redid all the skill trees, which meant I had to respec everything. And my guy who I thought was a badass lost some of his abilities that made him a badass as I respec. So that was slightly frustrating going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised with the DLC and the final end state of Cyberpunk 2077. Now, full disclosure, I've liked the game since it came out, despite the issues it had at launch. So other thing I wanted to bring up, Starfield, one of the first big successes coming out from Xbox in a while, coming straight to Game Pass. Although it's kind of getting review bombed now, and I'm not exactly sure why. Like the Steam reviews have all started dropping all of a sudden.
What did?
Starfield.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Is it all those crazy No Man's Sky fans just hating?
I have no idea. I enjoyed it. I got a bunch of time into it. There's probably a ton more video game stuff we could talk about. I had one last thing I wanted to mention, then I'll open up to you guys if there's any game stuff that I missed that you wanted to discuss. I don't get the PlayStation Portal. I just don't get it.
To be fair, me either.
For $200, I don't get it when I can just pair a controller to my cell phone and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't fucking understand it either. I guess because it has a PS5 controller in the middle of said screen, or on either side of the screen. I don't know.
I mean, it gives you the adaptive triggers, which is the only difference between using like some of the third-party things like those the Backbone or Backblaze clip-ons that you can do. Yeah, Backbone. They don't have the adaptive trigger. This does. But for $200 for something that can literally just only stream PlayStation stuff, and people went out and tested it outside of their local area network trying to come back to their PlayStation, and if their internet connection was not robust enough, they were having issues. And they were even having issues in the same house. And arguably one of the worst things they've done on it is make it so that you can't do anything but play PlayStation on it. Like, why can't you throw apps on there for Netflix or YouTube so that when I can't connect to my PlayStation, I can at least be on Wi-Fi and do something else with it?
It makes zero sense to me. I mean, at least with the Vita, like Ulisa was its own game system in and of itself, and you could also stream Netflix and stuff through it as well.
Well, I was saying, didn't the Vita have movies that you could buy that were in game cartridges?
No, that's PSP. No, that was PSP.
Right. My bad.
You guys are getting confused. PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita, two separate systems.
You're correct.
You're talking about the UMD movies. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I got this shit, man. You don't think I know this shit?
Yeah, I didn't buy none of that shit. Well, part of the problem, the PlayStation Portable stuff, they have the naming problems that like Xbox has. No one can remember what anything's called because none of it makes any sense.
Oh, UMD. It's
Universal Mini Disc.
Universal Media Disc. Yeah,
I thought it was Mini. I don't remember.
Oh, Mini Media. Who cares? It's the same damn thing. They're Mini and it's Media. It's the same shit.
But
the PlayStation Portal's stupid.
I don't get the need for it for $200. It seems unnecessary. Like if they put some stuff in there so that I can do other stuff besides just connect to my PlayStation. And I guess one of the other things that's really problematic with it when I was watching some of the reviews is, say you're at Starbucks and you bring your PlayStation Portal with you because you want to play. Starbucks Wi-Fi has a captive portal, meaning you have to acknowledge the rules. There's no way to do that on the PlayStation Portal. So if you're playing on hotel Wi-Fi, Starbucks Wi-Fi, or any of those places that have a captive portal, you can't acknowledge that and then connect to the Wi-Fi to play.
Yeah, the thing where you have to go to a URL and then click on the accept button. There's no way to do that on the portal.
There's no way to do that on the portal, which seems like something that should be patchable to put in there to allow you to do. But
poor design.
Should is the key word there.
But it might also be how do I put this best? I think it might be something they don't want to fix because it seems like you need a fairly robust connection for the PlayStation Portal to give you smooth gameplay. And most of these things that have captive portals on them is Wi-Fi that's open up to a lot of folks. So you're splitting bandwidth between, say, 12 to 30 devices if you're in a Starbucks.
To defend it a little bit, and it's not even a full defense, does Japan have those problems though? Like where they have to go through it? Like that's the question. I mean, if it's not in Japan, then it makes a lot more sense, you know?
This seems to be something that's fairly ubiquitous amongst businesses that offer free Wi-Fi. So,
like, I'm not trying to really defend it. I'm just like, if something that makes sense in Japan, that would at least make sense in a little bit in my head.
So,
not
for example,
I would defend it.
For example, I really like the Beat 'em Ups channel. That's a Woodhawker's channel. It's predominantly a lot of Nintendo Switch stuff. But he took his portal out and he took it to Starbucks, and he was really frustrated by the fact that he couldn't connect to their Wi-Fi. He had to hotspot his iPhone and connect to that. And even on like a 5G connection, his gameplay was stuttery and eventually gave out on one a couple different times with the PlayStation Portal.
So the going to Starbucks was just discontinued. Like, had no purpose because he was just using his phones.
Exactly. He wanted to take it to Starbucks to do the experience of going on the road. And that's when he realized there's no ability to bypass that captive portal to connect to it.
Yeah, that is another question. I thought I noticed something weird with the PS5. The PS4 has an internet browser. PS5 does not. In fact, it actively makes it so you cannot access a web browser unless for very specific ways of doing so. But even when you do, you can't just go to whatever. You can't click on a URL and type in whatever you want.
Okay.
It's weird. It's really weird. I don't understand why. Maybe because people are like, that's way people are jailbreaking.
Now, to be fair, there's no browser that I know of on the Nintendo Switch, though the Xbox does have the Edge browser on it. I think that includes back to the previous generation of Xboxes as well.
I'm sorry. It just made me laugh when you talked about the Switch having a browser. It just reminded me of the Wii having Opera on it. And that was like a big thing.
But I do think the Switch can bypass captive portals, though. I haven't tried it, but I thought that was something they added in there, was the ability to do something like that. So there's probably a browser of some kind that's just hidden that we can't get to be able to do that acknowledgement to click in.
I mean, I think there's a way to listen. It's possible. Here's how to do it. No, because then you can't even connect to the Wi-Fi I don't even know. I don't fucking know. No, I have no idea. Fucking Sony. What the fuck were you thinking?
Now, there's a different problem, and I know the Xbox has this. I haven't tried it. The PlayStation is it only remembers one Wi-Fi network. So that's just an annoyance. Is that, say you take your Xbox home, you say you're a college student, you take your Xbox home and you want to connect to your parents' Wi-Fi, you have to log back in again. It doesn't save more than one network on
your
there,
Xbox. Does it? Oh,
no, it does not.
Yeah,
wow,
that's dumb.
PS4. It remembered everywhere I took it. It was like, oh yeah, I know this one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because I honestly haven't tried it because both my PS4 and PS5, once I brought them home, have never left the house. They've changed rooms, but that's about it.
I mean, I never even thought about it with Xbox. I just thought it just did it.
Yeah, I did too. But evidently it's a problem for folks. Like I said, I haven't run into it because my use case isn't me bringing my Xbox with me anymore.
Yeah, you don't take it anywhere. It's just there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not really a big problem.
Was there something else anyone wanted to talk about in video games, news, games, etc.? I'm sure there's probably other stuff.
Were we trying to not touch upon the Insomniac stuff? I mean, if you're not trying to, I understand.
We can't to an extent, but I don't want to like deep dive into all the stuff that came out of the leak because I don't think that that encourages others.
I got you. The one thing I did see was nothing about other than that they have like an exclusive X-Men thing for making X-Men video games for years ahead of time. That's the one thing I saw. It blew my mind. I didn't think it was like too bad to say.
No, I only had two things for video games, which was I have to give credit to Behavior for coming up with a third-person killer, because the way that they integrated Chucky into the game and added the Child's Play, like the perks, the way he works, the ghost of Charles Lee Ray, the skins for Tiff, getting the voices of Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly, like it's probably the best killer launch they've had since I've been playing DBD. Like it's. It had the longest running where, like, because usually when a new killer comes out, it's always that killer that you face for like a day or two. With Chucky, it was 3 or 4 days before I faced a killer that wasn't Chucky. And so, like, that was a really popular release. And of the ones that they've done since I've been playing that game, it's probably the best one they've done, where the least amount of problems came out of the launch, because Behavior is really good at breaking their own game every time they put out a big patch, which is ridiculous. But yeah, it's a super fun killer that was done really well. And like you said, yeah, Chucky's terrifying in the game. Yeah, he's super small. You go into hidey-ho mode and you have no terror radius, you have no red stain, and you're running around behind pieces of debris, walls, places like Leary's and stuff where you have these short walls that as a survivor and a killer, normally you're running around and you can see the other person running around them. When you're playing as the good guy, people can't see you because you're just so damn tiny. And so it's a really great killer for like sneaking up and stabbing people. It's fun as hell. And then, yeah, the other one was, it was awesome that, didn't have to pay for anything extra, didn't have to do anything. And all of a sudden, I can play some more God of War Ragnarok because now I have Valhalla. Awesome. I love free DLC is the best thing ever. Yeah. Throw a little add-on on a game that you've already got your money for because so many people bought it, and just, hey, give us a little something extra. That's some of my favorite shit ever. It's like Insomniac with the spider suits that they threw onto the first Amazing Spider-Man game after everybody had played it. I just love little stuff like that.
And they're probably going to do it for the second Spider-Man game. They already announced 4 creator suits. So
nice.
I'm not sure if they came out yet or not.
Those are the ones that were
with it.
Those are the ones that were made by kids. Game. I think we showed them.
I think so, but I think they are going to be adding. I'm assuming they're going to be adding more, like they did.
Yeah, I assume. I think that their rush to get New Game Plus in place and then the follow-up pack has kind of delayed a bunch of stuff happening, I think.
And if there are no more suits, the game's perfectly fine. It's definitely not Game of the Year, but it was a fine, fun game. You can't take that away from them.
I mean, that's fair. There's a crap load of suits in that game as it is. It took a while to unlock them all as it is. I don't know what others I feel like I would have to have. Like, I enjoyed the selection I had in game as I went through it.
Well, I want one back from the original game that you had to unlock.
Which one?
It was like one of the very last ones you unlocked from the original Spider-Man, not from Miles Morales. That is the boxers one.
Oh, yeah, that one was funny.
Bring it back, you cowards! Let's see that spider dong whipping through the breeze.
No dong, please.
Spider dong. Whipping webs left and right. These ain't webs.
Well, I got a bookmark for that so that we can put that up on the Instagram.
You're welcome.
For those that aren't aware, we've been doing a bunch of YouTube shorts and shorts on the Facebook Reels and Instagram of clips from the show. So you might see some of these things come back. Anyone else have any other gaming specific stuff they want to talk about? Going once, twice.
Let's give praise to the Rio Gagato. I cannot pronounce that. I cannot pronounce the Japanese. The Like a Dragon Studio, because that's what it translates to, for releasing 2 great games this year already, and you have one coming up in less than a month that I've been waiting on.
That's fair. We can do that.
High praise to that studio. Best game series known to mankind. Play Yakuza 0 and tell me I'm wrong.
Fair. Let's move on next. I had some stuff here for movie news, TV being a separate thing that I'd listed out there. Please feel free to sprinkle in your own stuff as we go. For me, one of the main things that I just enjoyed and I'd kind of forgotten was actually 2023 because it feels like forever ago. Across the Spider-Verse cleaned up last year. Like, came out, went bananas, sold a bunch of Blu-rays and physical and digital copies, and is just really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it next. And it's a good story. Now, I think we should probably also be cognizant of the fact that it seems like they burnt out a bunch of animators on that. So I don't think rating it quickly. And that animator burnout is a separate issue that we're going to see for both special effects and animators throughout the industry, I think, as you see more and more starting to unionize and try to get a little bit of control when it comes to burnout. Same thing we should be seeing in the video game industry, too.
Yeah. Well, and also, I think it's probably the best example of the part 1 of 2 movies that were released this year. Because if I remember correctly, Dune was this year, and
was it this year?
Rebel Moon, Child of
Dune
Fire
was
was this year.
Dune was last year, I think.
Was Dune 2022?
Yeah, I think so. Because that
but
came
still,
out. That
still
came
your
out
point.
2021 or 2022, I think, because it was. Or am I
But
getting
still-
that confused with the last? I don't know.
It was the year HBO released everything on
Yeah.
as it came out.
You release a movie that everybody knows is part 1 of 2, and a lot of people get disappointed like that. It's like, well, I'll just wait till the last one. I'll wait till the whole thing's done, and then I'll watch it. And so, like, that throws some people off. That did not slow anybody down from going to see Across the Spider-Verse in the theaters, even knowing that it was part 1 of 2 of a continuing story.
To be fair, most people forgot that was going to be the case, though, too, when it came to the Across the Spider-Verse. Even though they'd said like 2 years before, "Hey, this movie's going to be split into 2." Most people forgot and then went in and were like, "Wait, what?"
To be fair, I didn't even know it until after I bought it. I was like, it's a second part. Oh, let me watch it then. Oh, okay. I mean, sure.
And in all fairness, it's technically part 2 in a trilogy. We know there's going to be 3 of them. Like, it's a Spider-Man movie. There's always 3 of them.
Well, did they know they were going to be making 3 of them with that first one? They made it as like a one-off, but possibilities in the future.
Yeah, they made it as a one-off, knowing that they had a ton of Spider-Verse stories they could tell from the comics, and that they thought, hey, this is a really unique way of doing animation. And if people like it, we're going to be rock stars. If people had hated the way Into the Spider-Verse looked, it might not have done well. But that unique animation style, people dug it. It doesn't look like anything else. There's no anime, there's no American cartoons, there's no shows on Netflix. Nothing out there looks like the Spider-Verse movies. Which is cool.
The 2 movies for Cine to Nerdle today are Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and the Super Mario Brothers movie of 2023. Those are the 2 starting movies.
Voices, that's tougher. All right.
Stepping back a sec, just because we progress quickly, we should bring it out. My fave tech. It's that I'm an old timer. I have a PS5 and played old TMNT Turtles in Time. That game is great, by the way.
Yeah,
but also really hard. From what I recall.
All the Turtles games were hard. The Turtles have never had an easy game. Like,
you're not wrong.
I don't know what it is. They always make any Turtles game, especially don't give me that. What was the one that had the swimming level? Like, it was worse than Mario.
The first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that was on the original Nintendo. That also the cover had them in like the original like red bandanas. It took the comic book cover, but they still had the individual colors in the game. It was like, why did they do this?
Yeah, the swimming level on that was like Battletoads hard. It was awful.
I mean, you get through it. You just might lose a turtle or 2.
You might lose your sanity 2 or 3 times.
It's just like the same with the Zelda games. Anytime there's a water temple after Ocarina of Time, I've broken into a cold sweat because I remember how hard the water temple was, let alone the Master Quest version of it.
It wasn't hard. It was just tedious. And you had to remember where the fuck you need to go. Just tedium.
All right. So next up, some movie stuff. This one will be pretty quick. We got our first casting news for the Fantastic Four. And it's Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, which I wasn't expecting.
Official?
I'm not necessarily disappointed with it. It's just I was like, I didn't expect Pedro for that role.
Official?
It is official. Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
I know I heard a rumor, but nice.
It has been confirmed. They have not confirmed any other casting at this point in time, but Pedro is official, continuing his trend of being everyone's favorite daddy.
There better going to be the MCU daddy.
There better be a cameo from another Marvel character, and I want to see them driving in a car together, just smiling at each other. I want to see Mr. Fantastic and Ghost Rider just driving together, and just Mr. Fantastic just smiling at him, and Ghost Rider's like, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Wouldn't Ghost Rider be driving? Why would Ghost Rider be a passenger?
It's the scene from The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent where it's just the same meme that
but the only thing Ghost Rider does is drive vehicles.
He can't be a rider at one point in time. He's Ghost Rider, not Ghost Driver.
Yeah, that he is Ghost Driver.
Hey, let's not go back. Hey, you know what? Fuck you. Let's go back to PBS. Let's go back to Ghost Writer.
I loved that show as a kid.
So did I.
When I was in elementary school, my class was, 2 different classes were used as someone's master's thesis or something like that. And it was, do kids retain better if closed captioning is turned off or on for Ghost Writer? So one of the classes watched it without closed caption and the others watched with audio and closed captions on. And it was part of their research was to see whether that was helpful for folks. I was in the class with captions on, and I'm one of those folks, like, I can do it with captions on, but I tend to read a lot faster than when I hear things. So then I get way ahead as I'm reading things. I'm like, okay, they're still saying it.
And then you're distracted by like,
Sometimes.
wait on them.
Sometimes.
That's weird. I used to never ever use closed captioning, and the wife puts it on everything, and so now I've gotten used to it. I watch everything with closed captioning on now. You don't miss dialogue.
Yeah. Naki knows. Naki in the chat room saying Ghost Rider was so good. But you see, we're all of a similar generation when Ghost Rider was a big thing on PBS.
Yeah, see, I've never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, that's why I was like, well, some of us. Hey, and if we're going down the PBS rabbit hole, let's talk about one of the greatest shows that you've ever had.
The Electric Company.
Wishbone. Yeah, it was
Wishbone was great. I'm waiting for Naki to say, I love Wishbone.
Yeah, my Gen X is showing here, you bunch of fucking millennials.
hey, you learned about classic literature through Wishbone or nothing.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. All right, continuing in the movie category, I'm going to touch on it, and I'm just going to make the comment, and then I'm not going to say anything more. The Marvels came out, and Aquaman 2 came out, and their box offices are comparable, and one took a lot more shit than the other, and I find that rather annoying.
Wait, Aquaman 2 came out?
Yes.
What the fuck did that happen?
Last weekend.
Last week, and yeah, nobody noticed. That's how great Aquaman
nobody noticed in particular, and its box office and reviews were comparable, if not worse, to what came out with the Marvels, and is not getting savaged by every movie critic, Twitter personality or things out there. And I go, I wonder why. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I find it very frustrating because the Marvels isn't a bad movie. It's just not a great movie.
No, the problem is that everybody loves Jason Momoa, and there's a certain section of the internet whose only job it is to cry anytime Brie Larson does something because she's awesome, and it makes them feel like they have tiny dicks.
God forbid she be a woman with an opinion.
Well,
how dare
or
she?
a movie that stars 3 women with opinions who are awesome.
I do want to see it, but I don't expect it to be that good because I saw Miss Marvel, the show, and the best part about it was the coming of age mother-daughter, like immigrant family dynamic. That story was a good story. The Marvel shit got in the way of that good story.
Well, Ms. Marvel's family is very heavily featured in the movie still too.
But it's also the Marvel bullshit. No offense to bullshit like it's bad.
It is a great show.
The Marvel stuff that they have to do to continue the Marvel stories. I'm not saying it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm just saying the Marvel stuff that they have to do got in the way.
And I will say this: the Marvel's mid/post credits, because there's only one scene, sets up some very interesting stuff going forward. And I can't wait until you guys see it so that we can talk about it. Because I was like, God damn, this is pretty cool.
It's sad. I still haven't seen that.
I don't have a problem with any of the actresses or anything.
Yeah. That's because you're a rational human being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I just thought the Marvel stuff in that Miss Marvel show was just kind of like, come on, I just want to see that family die. I want to see her like
go
through and grow up.
The show was just
awesome.
The show was just fantastic. Like that show took the heart of the comics and they put it into a live action show. Other than changing her powers, like they really ran with what the story was in the comics and did a really good version of it. Like that
making her
was awesome. Yeah,
making her the first mutant in the MCU.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah, and they retconned it in the comics.
Yeah,
she ended up Miss Marvel now joined the X-Men.
That's right, they did. That's
after they killed her.
I had and she stayed dead for 2 weeks. She didn't even die in her own. Hold on, and she didn't even die in her own book, which really pissed me off.
Yeah, she died in Amazing Spider-Man to save MJ.
To be a prop, basically. Like, someone's got to die. We'll just kill her. And not even in her own book that she dies.
God damn it. The writers just want to kill off Mary Jane. Let them do it. Holy shit, they've been trying for years.
They don't want to kill her off. They turned her into her own superhero and basically broke up Peter and Mary Jane yet again because God forbid they have a healthy, successful relationship that, they had for 20 plus years that they decided to undo by selling their marriage to the devil 10 years ago. One More Day is a travesty and continues to be. And the fact that Marvel won't let Spider-Man grow up in the comics is just terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, he did.
Parker luck always leads to a reset.
The best version of that you can see is probably in the Spider-Girl comics. How's that?
Yeah. Or the
Roll up Peter
Insomniac
Parker,
Spider-Man games.
If Mary Jane's still there and they have a daughter and actually being a family. Yeah, boom. That's probably the best you'll ever get.
That's why I'm super interested in reading the new Ultimate Spider-Man book, where it's a Spider-Man who's like in his mid-30s when he gets his powers, that is married to Mary Jane and has 2 kids. I'm intrigued to see where they go with it.
The new Ultimate Spider-Man it's another really cool concept. The Ultimate Spider-Man, that concept in and of itself has been the best thing to come out of the word ultimate being added by Marvel. It gave us Ultimate Peter Parker, which then led us to having Miles Morales. All of that exists because someone was like, oh, what if Peter Parker was 16 now in the year 2000? How would that work?
Oh,
and the first thing he did was tell her, Mary Jane, I got powers.
No, it also turns out he swaps bodies with a 100-something-year-old man who tries to hit on his girlfriend who's under 18 at the time.
Yes.
But his mind is not under 18, but his body is currently.
Yeah.
So that brings up the whole moral dilemma? Is that wrong?
And they made it. That made it into the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon as well. The body swap with Wolverine, which was good.
And yes, the answer is it is very wrong.
It's very wrong. Sorry, I took my tangent there in regards to the Spider-Man comics. I'm fed up with the current state of Spider-Man in the comics because God forbid we let the character evolve into anything anymore. He's always got to be failing at everything, can't do anything right. Like, it's not what Stan Lee did with the character. He always had things go wrong, but the character continued to grow. They always reset Peter Parker back to the status quo whenever a new creative team takes over, which you don't need to do.
He always uses genius to come up with ways to fight the bad guys. Like, oh, I need a little bit of this thing I can create and let me fight them.
But people relate so much more to a single Spider-Man in his early 20s. No, they don't. They don't. They did it before with him being an adult who was semi-competent at things he did in a successful relationship, dealing with how do I do this and be Spider-Man. I just don't understand.
Well, my point is, at this point in time, does he really deserve to be with Mary Jane? My answer is no. They've been on and off again for how long? Let it just fucking end. Let it just end and be done. Find a new person. Stop this wishy-washy, yes, no bullshit.
Nick Spencer heard you say that, and he just had a relationship with Black Cat again for a while.
Yeah, but that wasn't Spencer reunited Mary Jane and Peter Parker. It was the current writer's staff that broke them up right after they reunited them. They did their time leap forward 6 months with, oh my God, what did Peter do? Where everyone hated Peter Parker all of a sudden for something he did. It's trash. It's trash. It's just straight trash.
When they explain, the setup of that story was cool. It was a cool setup. Parker did something so bad, everybody hates him. It's like, okay, I'm interested. Like, that's an interesting story.
Wait,
and then when they go back and tell
Spider-Man.
Both.
But I knew he was Peter, so.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay, gotcha.
And then when, 6 months later in the comics, when you read what he did, it's like all of this could have been solved by Peter explaining something in 10 seconds to every person he dealt with. It makes no sense that that's how he would have reacted. It was just poorly written.
The current incarnation of Spider-Man is just trash. It's bad. The Insomniac Spider-Man is a much better version of Spider-Man right now.
Don't say that. I have 400 issues of Amazing Spider-Man behind me, and that's still one of the 2 books I get every month.
I'm sorry.
I'm down to 2 books.
I'm sorry.
Down to my pull list is 2 books now. It's gotten very, very small.
I had one last thing in the movie stuff that I wanted to discuss, and then, of course, floor is open for anyone else. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the phenomenon that was Barbie and how everyone was excited for it and how it got turned into the Barbenheimer kind of thing where people were doing the double feature, I thought that was incredibly fascinating. And the fact that people were so excited about it and really enjoyed it made me go, okay, I'm going to check this movie out at some point in time. Now, me checking it out is whenever it hits a streaming service I have at this point in time because I have enough other shit I need to watch.
It's on rental on Amazon now. It just showed up, I think, yesterday. Okay. So it's on the front page of Amazon Prime, but it's for rent. It's not part of Prime.
Yeah. Careful, you rent it, you might have commercials.
No, if you rent it, you won't have
I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
I want to see it, but I enjoyed the fact how many people seemed genuinely excited to go and see it. And it became one of those cultural touchstone moments, for lack of a better term, because everyone had such excitement and buzz around it that even the dumb internet trolls were getting drowned out by people like, oh, I can't wait to go and see this movie.
Yeah, the wife and the stepdaughter went and saw it and both enjoyed the hell out of it. And I've been making, Barbie jokes about Ken and stuff ever since. And yeah, they loved it. I'll see it eventually. It's one of those things like, hey, wasn't designed for me. I'm not the audience for it, but that does not mean I have to hate on it. Like, let people and don't yuck people's yum. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
Hell no. Fuck people.
People enjoy things.
Look,
No.
I don't like the current run of Spider-Man, for instance, but I'm not going to tell people don't read it if they like it. I'm just going to say I think it's trash. That's fair.
Well, plus, I mean, whether or not I like Nick Spencer, because it literally goes like this. It goes Stan Lee, and then Dan Slott, and then everybody else that's written Spider-Man, like Brian Michael Bendis, maybe in the third spot, and then everybody else is way down below that. None of those guys are the
Man
current
of
right.
Steel is a great Superman movie.
None of those guys are the current writers on Spider-Man, but at least when Nick Spencer started, I had Ryan Otley doing the artwork, so it's worth owning those issues alone just for the pretty pictures.
It's fair.
I mean, I've got one of the pages over here on the wall. Like they're damn pretty. Damn
It's
fucking
true.
pretty.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about on the movie side of the house? I know I didn't touch on everything. I'm sure there's other stuff out there.
I do, just because I actually, following Mike Flanagan's example, I finally joined Letterboxd this year. And so you can journal every movie that you watch. So now I watch a film, I put it in Flickchart, and I, put it in my list of my 2,400 films I've seen. And then I add it to the journal on Letterboxd, which is cool. So basically since July, I've been updating, I think, every film I've seen. So, I mean, there was a couple of really good ones this year. We got Extraction 2, Chris Hemsworth coming back on his mercenary guy on Netflix, the Russo brothers action films, where they did a super long, what appears to be a one shot that's like 30 minutes long in an action sequence. Just another great, like, action oriented, feels like an 80s action film. Like Extraction and Extraction 2 are just fun movies. We got Evil Dead Rise this year, which was a fantastic update to the Evil Dead series. We got to take the wife to the theater. We saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Seeing Harrison Ford, old man Indiana Jones, on the theater screen again was kind of awesome, especially after that fourth movie that doesn't exist. Then we got the end. We got the end of one of the greatest trilogies ever. We got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 this year, where we got to see basically the origin story of Rocket, and James Gunn tried to make everybody in the world fucking cry because he's an awesome filmmaker and sometimes just mean. And then, Across the Spider-Verse. One of the independent small films I saw this year that I want to mention was Glorious. Read about it in Fangoria and then ended up catching on Shudder when I got Shudder for October and November. If you haven't seen it, it's Ryan Quantain from True Blood. He was the brother. Been in a bunch of different films and stuff. If you saw him, you'd recognize him, but it's him running into a Cthulhu monster in a glory hole in a bathroom at a truck stop.
Oh yeah.
What's and the voice again? It's called Glorious. Oh, and the voice of the Cthulhu monster is J.K. Simmons. It's one of the weirdest setups for a movie ever, and possibly one of the funnest things I've ever watched. It's weird, it's gross, but it was just fun as hell. Haunting Venice was just okay. Violent Night came out this year, which I love that. And then, It's a Wonderful Knife. If you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Knife, it's over on Shudder. Justin Long does the scariest acting of his career. He is a terrifying, bleached white fake teeth, super tan, blue contact lens mayor of a town. And it's like a time travel, It's a Wonderful Life slasher. So it's like Happy Death Day meets A Wonderful Life. And it's called It's a Wonderful Life. And it's a great movie. It's really well done. And Justin Long is actually terrifying in it. It may be the favorite acting job I've ever seen him do as an actor who I've loved like his whole career. And then, also Chris mentioned earlier Gran Turismo, which was really good. But sadly, I was disappointed by Candy Cane Lane, the new Eddie Murphy on Amazon. That was kind of funny, but just eh. And then, the movies I've caught in the last week, I watched Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire, the Zack Snyder, I'm going to do quote-unquote adult Star Wars. And I'll just say the problem with that movie is it wants to tell you how cool it is. So the end of Rogue One is Darth Vader coming down the hallway, murdering everybody, and it's just fucking cool. There's a rule in the Star Wars universe that they've all passed down from George Lucas and on. If something doesn't make sense, but it's cool, you go with it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't kind of make sense as long as it's cool. Because Star Wars has a lot of stuff that's just cool. Doesn't make sense, but it's cool. Everything in Rebel Moon is instead of Darth Vader coming down the hallway, it's a guy with a giant machine gun yelling at you how cool he is as he shoots everybody. That's the problem with Rebel Moon. There's a lot of really cool ideas in there, but it's telling you you're going to like it and it's the coolest thing you've seen this year. It's not letting you try to discover that on your own. And then I they put it on Amazon Prime, so I did watch The Flash because I refused to pay for it. I'll just say, I feel sorry for Andrew Machete having his name on that. I can't believe that movie was released with the way the CGI looks. Like it's not ready yet to go into theaters. Like
I think the worst part about that movie is trying to make Ezra Miller look like a sympathetic person.
Yeah, when even he hates himself in that movie. Like that's the one thing that made sense. Even he found himself annoying. It's like, yeah. All the Mike. I love Michael Keaton. I was 12 years old in 1989. 12 is the year that it like sets your personality that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
And you went.
I was 12 years old when I went and saw Batman in the theater in 1989. Michael Keaton is one of the greatest things ever in cinema, as far as I'm concerned. Always will be. Seeing him back in the Batsuit should have been enough to make up for the rest of that movie, and it wasn't. And that's how bad The Flash is. Of all the films that I've rated on Letterboxd, it's the only one so far that I've given half a star. It didn't even get 1 star out of 5. It got half a star. It's trash. Yeah, go see It's a Wonderful Knife. That's way better. Go get Shudder. Go see It's a Wonderful Knife. Justin Long is amazing. I want to end on a high note, not a low note.
That's fair. Willie, do you have anything else you want to talk about in the movie side of the house?
Nah, I think I'm good.
Okay.
We're sitting pretty here, man. I mean, unless you want to talk about the game I've found out that's all about movies that me and Bachman have challenged each other to.
That might be a what I'm into discussion there.
That's what I felt like. So I'll leave it to you, but it is very movie related. But yeah, it's a good call. Good call.
All right. Next topic. Oh, go ahead.
One more thing to hit on. I haven't seen it yet, but it was mentioned in a lot of the podcasts I lost. For those that watched the Grindhouse movies back in the day, there were trailers before those movies for fake movies that didn't exist. Except for this year, Eli Roth released Thanksgiving, and it did really well in the theaters. There's a horror movie for the month of November. Thanksgiving finally has its own slasher. I've seen good stuff about it. I've heard great reviews. I sadly haven't seen it yet, but it looks really good. And that I think it's also available for rent on Amazon Prime now. So those are all those movies are hitting the Voodoos, the Amazon Prime, the rental services, the Google Play. Yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff out there to rent.
I hope that Thanksgiving movie did not have the thing from the fake trailer back on Grindhouse, and that was the trampoline scene. I hope it does not have that in it.
I don't know. I remember he said when he talked to Mick Garris on a post-mortem about it, he said that they started filming trying to make the movie that was in the original Grindhouse trailer, and there was something that they realized they couldn't do, and it didn't make sense for any type of story they were trying to tell, so they did change part of it. And so it's not the original trailer on the Grindhouse films doesn't perfectly match up with the Thanksgiving movie that we got in the theaters now. They did have to change some stuff. So I'm not sure about the trampoline scene, just because I can't even remember it. It's been so long. But I do know that Eli Roth,
is someone jumping on it and then like coming down for like a butt bounce thing, and all you see is a knife come up from the bottom.
Oh, okay.
That's what I hope not to see.
I don't know if that's in the movie or not, but I know Eli Roth said they did have to change some stuff when they actually did do the film. So
I think that was the Thanksgiving one. There was a couple of them. Might have been a different one, but I think it was the Thanksgiving one.
Yeah, that movie does look good. I want to see that one too. Too much stuff out there.
TV news and shows and things like that, things I enjoyed. What We Do in the Shadows, another awesome season with Gizmo wanting to become a vampire and that kind of getting undone. But I'm also bummed that they also announced that this upcoming season is the final season of What We Do in the Shadows. So we only have one season left, but it's one of my favorite quirky, entertaining, just crazy things on TV still.
I've seen the first 4 seasons, I think. Yeah, that was one where like the first 1 or 2 episodes, I'm like, this is just fucking weird. And then once you get into it, like it is one of the funniest shows on television. It's the writing is insanely good on that show.
Laszlo is one of my favorite TV characters.
I was about to say, wasn't the 3rd episode when he was like, "This is the garden full of my favorite vulvas"?
I think it was around then.
I think it was one of the 3rd episode. I'm not 100% sure, but I have only watched like the first handful. So I think it was that one got me where I was like, all right, this one's the best. It's modeled after my mother's.
My mother.
That was
What
also the same
fuck?
episode where they fight the werewolves where they have the
Yep.
duel, and it's like, choose your weapon. He's like, I choose squeaky
Same-
toy, and throws
That
it
was
off the roof.
same episode because
Yeah.
they were
Yep.
pissing
Yep.
They were pissing in the vulvas, as he put it.
Yeah, on his topiary.
You're getting urine all over my vulvas.
I love that show. I'm sad, but I get why it might be ending because hey, that'll be what 6 seasons of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and going out, if they go out with 6 seasons and they go out on a high note and they're not making trash filler episodes, good for them.
I don't think they've ever made a trash filler
Yeah.
episode with that program.
American television needs to start taking more cues from British TV. You can do a 4-episode season if they're 4 fantastic fucking episodes. We don't need 23 episodes of a show if 18 of them are just filler trash. Like, give us 8 great episodes of a show and move on.
Yeah, look at
That's
One
fair.
Piece, the live action. They got rid of all that fucking filler bullshit.
So another thing I'm excited about is that we got a season 2 of Twisted Metal confirmed. I haven't finished all of season 1 right now. And the AEW World Champion 1 Samoa Joe is featured heavily in Twisted Metal season 1 and season 2. Yes, he is the new champion as of last night.
He's the champion and he's the sweet tooth.
And he's
Still
the
want
sweet
to
tooth.
see it. It's just it doesn't look like Twisted Metal. It looks like a great show. It's just why is it called Twisted Metal? That's my question.
Because it's based off of that content.
Is it? Is there a car battling tournament?
Willie, you need to watch and find out.
I do. I
It's on
really
Par-
do. It
it's
seems
on-
like it's just. It seems
It's
like
on the
just,
Peacock.
It seems like it's just Cannonball Run. That's all it seems like it is.
Other stuff in the TV side of the house. While I haven't watched most of it yet, Gen V and the success of the Boys spinoff has me really excited to see what else they keep building in that world, because the Boys is a series that I think gets better with each season. I think they've done almost perfect casting with everyone involved, and what I've seen of Gen V I really enjoyed. I like how they're expanding that world, and I'm just super intrigued to see where they go next with it.
Oh, so you haven't finished Gen V yet?
I haven't finished it yet. No.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, because they also did was it Diabolical Daycare? The Boys animated spinoff, which, yeah, what they've spun off on basically all the stuff that Aaron Kripke's involved with Amazon, working on the Boys IP and everything attached to it. It's all great. It's all, they took some of the most gross, over the top comic book storytelling ever and translated some of it directly to screen. And then they've now done additions to it that are just as fucked up as the original Garth Ennis stories, but it's all original stuff. And yeah, it's Gen V is fantastic. It is such a good show because it starts off like, oh, we're going to tell you this story. Oh no, we're taking a hard fucking left turn and you're never going to see this coming. And I mean, who doesn't love puppets? You got to love
Fair.
puppets. Yeah, Gen V's awesome.
Another one I wanted to bring up is this year I binge watched all of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia before I think the 16th season started. So I watched a lot of it, like all of it, except for like the 3 episodes I think that have been pulled down for a variety of different reasons. And this is the first time I live watched a season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I don't know how they continue to be that funny 16 seasons in on this show. Like, I just want to applaud them for the fact that they've been doing this show for that long and it's still that good. And it still does that good a job of ripping on things that are going on in life and making fun of people. And they keep the gang being terrible people that do terrible things. And I'm okay with it because it's just hilarious.
It's hard to do anything for that long and still be good at it.
Right. And then last thing I had on my list, just because it bears discussion, the Last of Us series on HBO/Max/ whatever the hell they're calling that app now. So good. And like, I just recently started finally playing the Last of Us game, and I didn't realize how good an adaptation of the game the show was until I watched the show and started playing the game. I'm like, oh, holy shit, this feels almost exactly like what I witnessed on screen. This is really neat.
You finished the show, right?
I did finish the show, yes.
Okay.
I'm very excited for season 2.
Yeah, that show is
Are
fantastic.
you sure?
Pedro is everybody's daddy.
Because if they keep up with what they're doing,
I know. That's why I'm curious to see where they go with it. But that's what I had just briefly listed out for TV news and shows. Floor's open, gentlemen. What do you got?
For Last of Us season 2, since you just mentioned it, be prepared for season 2 for all those same dipshits for who talk about the Marvelous just because it's female led. Yeah, be prepared for that shit. Oh, wait till that shows. If you know anything about what the characters in part 2, Oh, you just wait how they're gonna deal with a muscular woman. Oh, it's gonna be hilarious. They better have someone with definition this time. I'm sorry, but Gal Gadot is no Wonder Woman unless she gets more muscle mass. That's all I wanted from her, is to have a bit more muscle mass. So they better have someone with muscle mass for what's the character's name? Fuck. It starts with an A. It's not in my head. Why is it not in my head? Oh, fuck.
Because your head is empty.
Oh shit, that's right. Fuck, when did that happen? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's always been like that.
It's always been like that.
Always has been.
But yeah, you're gonna hear some people like complain about a muscular woman. Probably that's all I'm gonna tell you on that.
People are just going to complain about that show because it's going to heavily feature women.
There you go.
That's just what the nature of this discourse has turned into for things, is people can't handle the fact that you have badass women that get to feature heavily in media now a lot of the time.
Listen, Ellie is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, but she will gladly take a father figure.
Yeah,
Everybody loves Pedro Pascal. Everybody.
Not needing a man, it's just wanting a father figure, just someone, a companion, not a companion for love, because they're wildly different ages, but just, hey, I'm your friend, you're my friend, we're friends in this blown out topsy-turvy world. Oh shit, a zombie.
Fair.
Let's see, I had a short list for TV shows. I had a toss up between best show of the year, both released on Netflix. One was actually released at the end of 2022, but me and the wife didn't find it till early 2023, and then we binged the whole show, Alice in Borderland. If you haven't seen it, it is a weird ass show.
That is correct.
It's so well written. It is a strange setup. It's a strange payoff, but just plain weird from the start to the middle to the end, and just good. Every single episode is solid. It's solid writing, great acting, awesome special effects. As Docky saying, that show is so good. Just fun from the beginning to the end, and just plain weird. But yeah, it was a great show. That was I think that's got to be my show of the year. I'd put it just under that. In second place, The Fall of the House of Usher. Mike Flanagan and all the people that he works with. It was his last Netflix show, and it's basically an anthology telling of all the Edgar Allan Poe stories, told through the story of a family that basically makes a deal with the devil type of thing, and just terrifying, well written. The acting in it is superb. I was so sad to see my man Raul Coley die in it, but he got to work with Mark Hamill, so he had the best days of his life ever, because he got to do his third Mike Flanagan show, and because of it, he got to work with his idol, the guy that got him into acting. So yeah, just a superb show, but really creepy, really terrifying. If you're a horror fan, Fall of the House Usher might have been the best show of the year for you. And then two other big nods for just the fun shit that I love watching, and one of them I've watched 3 times through already. Amazon gave me part 2 or season 2 of 2 of my favorite shows. So we got the first 4 episodes of Invincible season 2, where you see the fallout from the end of season 1, where Mark's dad, turns on Earth and then beats him up and runs away. And you get to see the fallout from that and the story going forward, which, having, read Invincible multiple times over, I just love it. I've seen they've released 4 episodes. We have 4 more coming at the start of next year. I think since they've been out in the last month, I've watched them all the way through 5 times. So it's just great storytelling. Invincible's the best comic book story ever. It is literally the best comic book. It's the best superhero story that's ever been told. Robert Kirkman just kicks ass. The guy knows how to take every cliche that we all grew up with in comics and turn them just enough to make every single thing interesting. And there's no wasted characters. There's no wasted dialogue. Everything in Invincible is there for a reason. And the most Invincible thing ever, it does have an end. There's an end coming. Every other comic book out there in the world, it's all second act. You get an origin and you get a second act that runs forever, because DC is never going to let Batman end. Marvel's never going to let Spider-Man end. Those stories will continue as long as they own the characters. Invincible has an end. It is literally 144 issues of a comic that breaks up into 12 lovely hardcovers, which I'm about to start reading again for the new year. And yeah, it's a fantastic show. And then the other one is the best version of Batman we've ever seen, which is Reacher.
Yeah.
You can be Batman without the costume. You don't need the special effects. You don't need a car. You just need Alan Richardson running around beating the shit out of people.
There's a lot of buzz around Alan Richardson as potentially a Batman / Bruce Wayne candidate now, based off of number one, how he's performed in Reacher, and number two, the dude's a fucking brick house.
Yeah, well, and he was Hawk. He's already done the superhero. Well, he was Aquaman in Smallville. Then he was Hawk in Titans.
You forgot Thad Castle, though.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying that's not DC Comics stuff. I'm saying he did Aquaman in Smallville. He was the original version that they had in that show. And then he was Hawk on Titans. Yeah, he just might move himself up the chain and graduate up to Batman. And yeah, put him in a suit. I believe it. They had a sequence in the new episode where he catches a guy's fist and then headbutts the elbow to break the guy's arm. And when you see Alan Richardson do it, you believe it. Like, it makes sense. Like, he's terrifyingly huge as a human being. And like, he's been on the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum multiple times. He's just a great guy. He went through some serious shit and some mental health problems, and he's dealt with that stuff. And like, he's got a wife and kids and everything. And he's a great dude that's really open about what he's gone through and like what he did. Like, he destroyed his body making the first season of Reacher. This is a guy that was working like 20 hours a day, and like, his body started breaking down because he was not getting any rest filming this show. Very few actors, I think, work as hard as this guy does. And it sucks, but the good part of it is it shows. Reacher is amazing, and he's amazing in that show as that character. And it's just damn entertaining, violent television.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, Reacher season 2 is great. Season 1 was great. Season 2, even better. Yeah, I'm loving it so far. I think I have one new episode I haven't watched yet. I think I've seen the first 4 of the new season. I think 5's out now. So I got one more episode. I maybe watch that today.
Willie, what you got for us? Anything you want to add?
I want a question answered.
Okay.
Hey, Bachman, how many seasons do you think it would take them to complete the story of Invincible?
It depends. Yeah.
Like, for how far they've gone so far in the first and a half seasons, how much do you think they would need to go further?
I think depending on, like, because you can do a more condensed storytelling version, because they've had to alter some things, like to set it up for, reveals in comic books are page to page, where reveals in a TV show, you want, like, that fight with his dad had to be the end of the last episode of season 1. So if you do the most condensed storytelling possible and take out some of the side characters, I think you could finish Invincible in 5 seasons. It would be really condensed, though, and you would lose a lot. You'd have to get rid of, like, the flashback. There's a one point in the story where Mark goes back in time and resets his whole timeline. It's like a reset issue number 1. It's kind of a joke. You could get
rid of that in the show.
Yeah. If you get rid of that, you get rid of a couple other side quests. Some little story. I think you could condense it into 5 seasons, maybe, or maybe 5 seasons in like an animated film for the last war. I think solid storytelling and including everything that Kirkman wants to do. I think we're looking at 8 seasons. I think to get everything in there, you need 7 to 8 seasons, especially if you're only doing 8 episodes a season. I think if Amazon gives them 8 seasons, we might have the greatest cartoon ever made.
So I'm going to keep this vague, because if you read the comics, if you know, you know. But if you don't, you probably shouldn't get it from what. Do you think they're going to keep that thing that happens to Mark in the show? Because I don't think they should, and I don't think they are.
I think you have to, because it shows character growth for Mark and the Viltrumites. And it introduces a character that you see at the very end. If you remember issue 144, the wrap-up, where, spoiler alert, Mark's dealing with his children, because that's all Viltrumites do, is go out in the universe and have children. There's a big part of that wrap-up in 144 that deals with a specific character from that incident.
Well,
I think you need it. I think you need it. Because it's a piece of storytelling that you don't usually see with a male character. I'll say that. And so for that reason alone, I think you need it because it was well written. Kirkman put it in there for a reason. You look at the whole run of Walking Dead, you look at the run of Invincible, any of his books really. Kirkman doesn't put in fluff. He doesn't put in things that are there for no reason. And yeah, that I could see how that'd be hard to do. That might be the hardest thing for them to get away with in an animated show, even on Amazon, even next, and in the icon tile next to The Boys. Like it's still going to be hard to put that in a cartoon. But yeah, I think you need it. I think you might get a slightly altered version of it. But
I mean, they didn't really go into graphic detail.
Exactly. But
either way. So yeah, if they do it like that, I can understand that.
I think you might get a slightly altered version, but I think it does have to be there for storytelling and showing you how the Viltrumites change.
All right. Let's see this so we don't give away too many spoilers. If you haven't read the comics, that's on you, man. That's the first thing I went and fucking did. I don't know what you're doing with your life, Chris.
And they're re-releasing them now.
I've read the comics, Willie.
Oh, then never mind. I'm the jackass here. How
Chris has the Invincible compendiums like I do on Comixology, and they're re-releasing them now. They have new volumes in the manga size, so they're doing manga size trades of Invincible, and they have new hardcovers coming out too that Ryan Otley and Corey Walker have been doing new covers for. They also released, there's a new version of, I think it might be the manga size trades, where they changed the numbering so that now volume 1 is issues 1 through 7, which makes sense because Otley takes over at 8. And so there's now a trade that's only Corey Walker artwork, which, good for Corey because he's going to get more money off of those books because those are ones that have no Ryan Otley artwork in them. So, it's kind of cool that Corey Walker finally has his own volume that's just his books. Yeah.
Willie over here trying to comic shame me, though. What the hell? What the hell, Willie?
I'm not even going to say it. I was going to go somewhere. I'm not even going to say it. So, Chris, you know what?
I know where you were going to go.
You know what, Chris? I'm going to say something different. You know what the fuck I'm going to say, Chris?
Watch The Fifth Element.
I love you, Chris. You're a great guy.
Love you too, Willie. Love you too.
Sneaky bastard.
Don't get me all riled up. I'll tell you how much I care for you, you son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
All right. Anyone have anything else they wanted to add for TV shows, news, and things like that?
Not that I wrote down. So it must not have been that important. I'll think about it in an hour.
That's fair.
Shoot. Since I forgot about it during the movies, I think it came out technically last year too, but I will say I didn't see it till this year. My favorite movie that I've seen in the past while, just because the dialogue is so refreshing, is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
I don't know that one.
It was a good movie. Yeah, that's what's his face?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson, yeah, from SNL. Really good. It's a horror movie. It's one of those ones where it's a whodunit with a weird setup and a very strange payoff. But yeah, really, really interesting. Yeah, and good dialogue. Like there's writers that write characters to make them say things, and there's writers like Kevin Smith who listen to how people talk and then can translate that into the movies or TV shows that they make. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is a bunch of mid-20s college students. Yeah, Gen Zs talking to each other the way people talk. Yeah, the dialogue in that film is fantastic. And yeah, it's a weird setup, good payoff.
It's not just people saying things to each other to move the plot around. It's how, a lot of times, holy shit, I've been at a party talking about that exact same shit. I've seen that wink and nod. I know what that means. I know that shit. This feels like real life. It's just refreshing. And it's just a good movie, man. It's just good. You got some Lee Pace in there too. You got the little girl from Hunger Games. I think her character name was Rue. I never watched it. But you have a Borat's daughter in it. Yeah, it's just I cannot speak highly enough about it just because it was so refreshing. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
There you go.
Oh yeah, and to the point about the dialogue too. A lot of it was ad-libbed on purpose. They told them to ad-lib, and I think that's why it feels more back and forth because of the ad-lib. The one line I always say, I have body dysmorphia, came out of nowhere and that got me off guard, made me laugh. Yeah, that was ad-libbed. A lot of it was ad-libbed, so that's why it does feel like that too.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good flick.
I only had one more category I just want to touch on briefly. I'm sure there's other stuff,
Yeah.
so please feel free to
Lick
chime
and
in.
touch, baby.
On the tech side of things, I have been fascinated with the ongoing descent in falling apart of Twitter. Like, as someone who admittedly was probably on Twitter too much in the past because I enjoyed a lot of interaction with folks when it came to, say, pro wrestling and some geeky and nerdy topics and using it for breaking news and things like that. I'm kind of surprised that I'm at a point now where on the Twitter, I might log in once or twice a day, basically just to look and see what Wario64 has posted for any video game deals that I might want to jump on or things like that. I'm not really going to Twitter very often anymore. Now, assuming there's some kind of breaking news thing, I may do that again because the alternatives aren't quite as good for news outlets giving you near instant information about what's going on for a breaking news event. But I haven't been going on the Twitter that much. I've surprisingly been using Threads a lot. Threads kind of, when it came out, was a big deal. And now all of a sudden has kind of made a resurgence.
Before you go too far away from, I did something you brought. Has Wario64 gone to any other platforms, or is he just still on Twitter?
Wario64 is also on Threads, but doesn't seem to post as much on Threads as they do on Twitter.
I was a little curious about that little point.
But I do believe Wario64 also has a Discord that is supposedly updated the same as you would these other things. So Discord is probably the best alternative for Wario64, especially if you want to get off the Twitter machine. But I will say Threads has become a pretty interesting place. Now, their algorithm sucks. I have to block and report a bunch of stuff because it keeps throwing a bunch of anti-trans bullshit in their algorithm-fed thing. So I keep blocking and reporting things, and I'm getting tired of doing their job for them because some of the shit that's on there shouldn't be on there. But when I curate it down to the people I have chosen to follow on my feed, I don't mind it. I had a lot of interesting conversation and a lot more interaction on Threads last night discussing an AEW pay-per-view than I have the last 3 pay-per-views on Twitter combined. Damn. On Twitter, everyone just kind of wants to dunk. On Threads, there was actual conversation back and forth. Oh, okay, I didn't really care for that, but I cared for this. And it was a fun little community moment. Now, could that go get all screwed up? Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it does at some point in time. But right now, Threads is kind of nice, especially in comparison to Twitter, and people are kind of better at self-regulating, getting the stupid people out.
Well,
and not interacting with the trolls.
I'm going to call it the asshole domino effect. You see, you get in early when people are still being nice, but then you get that one asshole who's just going to be a little shit stirrer and just say one thing, and that's going to set one of the nice people off, and they're going to start being an asshole because that dude got it into them, and then it's a whole domino effect. Now everyone's an asshole to everyone. It keeps cycling around.
So here's the interesting thing with Threads that I've noticed is people basically get called out for their bullshit. Someone will quote tweet and basically like, hey, this guy sucks, ban them or report them or block them. And there's been a lot more of that on Threads versus rage engagement like we see on Twitter where people feel like they have to engage on things. It's more someone sees one of those dumb things on Threads, quotes it and says, this is someone you guys should block. And if it's someone who's in your feed, who are people you've started to enjoy that interaction with, it makes it a lot easier. And the thing I think is interesting with Threads, and I'm not sure how they do it, but if you block an account, it basically tells you they'll block any follow-up accounts that same person makes too.
Yeah,
so that's a nice feature.
Yes.
Yeah, because
that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's based off of Instagram's own software where they do that on Instagram. Where if you block someone's Instagram account, it blocks any other accounts they make.
Yep. So
wait. How does it know if they made another account?
Probably a combination of IPs, emails, and something else that I'm not exactly sure how they do it.
I mean, you have to make a whole new email, don't you, for that shit?
Well, yeah, and still Instagram blocks it, and so it's something that Instagram does that they've added that they put into their threads as well. It's something where, like, especially like when Twitter started, like I loved the idea where it was literally I could have conversations, especially when going at it as an artist. My favorite thing was talking to comic book writers and artists on Twitter. Like I have had conversations with Dan Slott about Spider-Man because of Twitter. That wouldn't exist if I can't make it to New York Comic Con, but I was able to do it on Twitter. And like I've had talks with Jimmy Palmiotti. I've had multiple discussions with Fabian Nicieza, the guy that wrote New Warriors, the book that got me into comics. Never met these people in real life, never met them at a con, but I've had conversations with them on Twitter, which has been awesome But yeah, sadly, like at this point, I'm using Instagram and Threads more and Twitter less and less every day. And I'm not having those same conversations yet on Threads, but also my social media has kind of shifted from comics more into Warhammer. So the bad news is I'm seeing less comic stuff in my Threads and my Instagram, but the good news is the Warhammer community is really positive. And so like 80 to 90% of my social interaction now is just people telling other people, hey, that looks great. Maybe try this. Here's this, like, ideas, tips, tricks. And it's awesome because it's not a bunch of people shitting on each other all the time, which is what a lot of Twitter interactions have become.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed the new communities that have sprouted up, but who knows how good they'll actually end up being when it's all said and done. But right now, it's a nice alternative. And yeah,
I mean, listen, I'm a nihilist here. Listen, look at the evidence in the past. Facebook, it was just college. You had to have a college email account to even have a Facebook, right? And then now it went all the way to where old people are putting minion memes left and right. At least that's the last time I saw Facebook. I don't really do social media anymore, man. But and then look what Twitter was, and now look what it is now. And Threads is, where's it gonna go? Like asshole domino effect. Evidence is there.
All I'm gonna say is Willie was never in my top 10 on MySpace. He never made my top 10.
I never had a MySpace.
I did. It's still hey, you can still go look at it. Did you know that?
I had a MySpace.
Just Google MySpace, your name, and it'll pop it up. You might, if you remember, you can sign in, but it's still there. I've looked at mine. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because didn't Timberlake bought it, right? Because he tried to bring it
at
back.
one point. I don't know who owns it
I
now.
have no idea.
Let's see if I go to MySpace.
Hey, Tom, out to you, bud. You the number one G, man. He's everybody's friend.
Yeah, that's true. Anyone else have anything they wanted to bring up? I'm out of the things that I had listed out, so floor is wide open.
You got something, Willie?
I'm thinking nothing important, man.
Well, for me, I will say, yeah, it was the year that I turned 45, and it was the year that I got addicted to what is referred simply as the hobby. So I had never really taken more than 30 seconds to look at anything Warhammer before the start of this year. I got some miniature paints for Christmas at the end of 2022. So I bought my first figure and painted a it was a D&D Haragon. So it's a Ranger rabbit. And a mini that was like this big, like this, the size of a quarter. I painted that January 15th, and since then I've built and painted roughly like 30 more miniatures. I've read 4 Warhammer books. I've listened to maybe 1,000 hours of Warhammer podcasts. I now subscribe to like 5 or 6 Warhammer YouTube channels, and Naki just gave me another one that somehow I'd never heard of, Voldemort, which is a great name. So I got someone else to listen to on Warhammer. And then I'm building miniatures left and right. I got a bunch of Warhammer for Christmas, which I got boxes to show here when we get what we're actually into. But yeah, I'm loving it. I finally played Warhammer this month for the first time, and I've got my buddy Colin coming back over next week for my birthday to play Warhammer again. And so I have found a brand new addiction at 45, and I'm going full tilt into it. My art desk I haven't done any drawings or illustrated or colored anything this year, but my art desk has been converted to a miniature model making and painting station. So that's what I do now is I put together models and I, paint them, and then I now play with them, and I fucking love it. Warhammer's great. It's like when I discovered D&D when I was like 13 in junior high. There's this giant world with all this lore and characters and fucking video games, podcasts, and they have displays now. Like Warhammer has everything, and I fucking love it. So if you want to play Dark Tide or Vermintide, let me know.
I know those games.
Yeah, I know I've heard of Dark Tide. I don't know if I've even heard of Vermintide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've heard of them. I know they're Warhammer related. I don't know how they play.
But yeah, that's what I've been getting into, or what I discovered in 2023 that kind of like changed my whole year, my outlook, my Christmas shopping, the things that I spend money on, the things that I do. For me, 2023 is the year of Warhammer. I turned 45 and I discovered the hobby. Vermintide is Warhammer Fantasy. So yeah, more Stormcast Eternals on the Age of Sigmar side, and then I've got my other armies, my Chaos Space Marines on the main Warhammer 40K. And it's nice too, because they have it's divided. Warhammer's divided into like the 40K, 30K, and then Fantasy. And now they brought back Old World again. So yeah, Warhammer's strange because it's one game, but there's like 8 different versions of it that you can play. So there's something for everybody. Everybody can play Warhammer. It's lovely.
That's true. On that note, though, we're going to. Willie, did you have something else?
Oh no, you said on that note, and I was trying. In my head, I heard a note. Dong.
All right, then. Well, on
that noise, I thought he shit himself.
Who knows? That's the noise that Willie makes when he poos. I don't know.
It's the brown note.
I fucking hate you all. I want to let you know that.
You love it.
That sounds like a lot of talk from people who could take an atomic elbow or two.
So
I can take a couple.
I've heard.
As we finish up this last podcast for 2023, we need to wrap things up with a bit of what I'm into. Now, we've sort of talked about that throughout the show because of our top lists of the things that happened this last year or so. But let's wrap things up with what we've been getting into most recently. Shut things down and let people go enjoy their New Year's festivities. I will kick things off because it's relatively short list for me because I kind of got busy with other shit that is not fun that I had to do around the house, chores and crap like that. But I did, like I mentioned earlier, watch the Gran Turismo movie that we talked about ages ago when the trailers first came out, thinking it looked interesting, and Neil Blomkamp did it.
Oh yeah.
If you watch the trailers, it makes you think it's all about the Gran Turismo camp and people training to be drivers. That's only like the first act of the movie. Or first half of the movie, basically. The rest of it is the guy that graduates from the Gran Turismo Academy becoming a professional driver and doing some really cool stuff. And it's a true story. And what's really neat is the driver who it's based off of was his own stunt driver in the movie for the actor playing
awesome.
Cool.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, it is on Netflix now. And I was very shocked after I watched it and the name Neil Blomkamp came up as the director. That is the least Neil Blomkamp movie I've ever seen. It's still a great movie, but it's like when you find out that Red State was directed by Kevin Smith. That is very much not a Kevin Smith. There's no crazy robots. There's no aliens. Nobody has a gun like grafted onto anything, but it's a Neil Blomkamp movie. It's very strange.
I really
He
enjoyed
didn't
it.
write the movie.
No, I don't believe he did. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it.
Real life wrote the movie,
guess-
Chris.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good
I guess David Harbour has been my thing to watch lately because I watched these two movies like 2 days in a row. Basically, I watched him in Violent Night, then I watched Gran Turismo the next day, which was kind of fun. And I did not realize at first, just because he looked different to me, it didn't click and his voice sounded a little different. Orlando Bloom is in the movie, and I'm like,
Legolas is like,
I'm like, holy crap, that's Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, I kept thinking that was someone else. I can't remember who I thought it was. Like, oh, it's got to be that guy. Oh no, that's Orlando Bloom.
He grew his hair out, but it's his normal, natural, like kind of darkish brown.
Right.
So yeah, it very much makes him not look like Legolas. But yeah, Legolas is like the first character you get introduced in the movie.
Yeah. I saw it and I'm like, is that Orlando Bloom? And I didn't click for a second. I was like, I checked the IMDb. I was like, holy shit, it is. I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's probably slightly too long. There's probably some stuff they could cut to shorten the runtime, but I really did enjoy it. Other than, since it's based off Sony stuff, the blatant product placement for Sony things that goes on throughout the movie.
Oh, it's just it's a 2-hour PlayStation ad.
It's really fun though.
If you don't have to pay for advertisements, you putting that shit everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, Xbox is just mad they couldn't figure out how to get Xboxes in as product placement in the Halo series. Because if they could have, they would have. Yeah, Sony's like, oh no, we're going to do a Gran Turismo movie. This is a Sony fucking ad is what this is.
I always love in movies when you see a controller when the people are playing a game and then you look and then they show the TV and it's like, that game ain't on that fucking system. You fucking little liars. Get this shit out of here. That's a fucking PlayStation controller and that's Sunset Overdrive. That shit ain't on PlayStation. Get the hell out of here.
The one that I hate is when they show a kid sitting there playing a video game and the game's happening, and then they sit the controller down to walk away, and the game keeps playing because they're just showing you looped tape on the TV. That's what always bugs the shit out of me. When the kid sits the controller down to go away, the fucking game stops.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's some minor details that don't really matter.
I guess the only other thing I can think of off the top of my head is I didn't see it show up in my recordings on YouTube TV, but it showed up on Hulu that we have right now. Ooh. The Lego Masters Holiday Special that they did was really good. Oh. It was like on Hulu, it shows up as 2 hour-and-a-half long episodes, but it's basically 4 episodes for a Lego Masters Holiday Special that was really good. And Marshawn Lynch, Octavia Shitwagon himself, you catch the reference if you've watched the Netflix show. He's hilarious in it. Like, he gets paired up with one of the Brickmasters I really liked. If you guys remember, I think it was last season of Lego Masters, there was the Canadian brother and sister combo, the brother who had the big beard and loved hockey and whatnot. He gets paired up with Marshawn Lynch. And they said in that show, asked what had been going on with his life, he moved to Denmark and works for Lego now. I was like, that's cool.
It's the ultimate win right there.
Right? So I could not find it anywhere on YouTube TV for me. And I have Lego Masters recorded. So my guess is they gave it some other title that didn't trigger with the regular Lego Masters stuff. But on Hulu, it was 2 hour-and-a-half long episodes for their holiday special that was tacked on to the end of the season.
What channel does it come on?
Fox.
It's a Fox
maybe,
show,
yeah, because Disney owns it. They might have exclusivity, right? Like to themselves, because they own it for most majority of Hulu. Like, YouTube, we'll give it to you when we feel like it.
No, YouTube TV is a streaming service like cable, though. So, like, if it aired on Fox, it should have been in my DVR.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's fair.
My guess is it was renamed enough that it didn't catch with my automatic recording of all Lego Masters episodes.
Oh, because it's titled like the Christmas.
It's probably titled, Holiday Special Lego Masters.
Yeah, something like that. So I missed it there, but we caught it on Hulu, and it's delightful. You've got basically 4 episodes of Lego Masters. Only since it's a holiday special, I think you only have like 4 teams.
No, I don't watch it. But
when I tell Jana there's more Lego to watch, she's going to be super happy. That's
Rob Riggle is
favorite shows.
Yeah, Rob Riggle is one of the guests, and he's absolutely hilarious this time.
Rob Riggle, yes.
Yeah, Rob Riggle's in it. One of the housewives from one of the Housewives shows, Real Housewives of whatever. And then, oh my God, Kelly Osbourne, I think is the other celebrity. Yeah,
Kelly Osbourne.
Kelly Osbourne.
Huh. Yeah, the daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I never thought about her since fucking the Osbourne show.
That's fair.
What the hell is Jack Osbourne doing now?
I don't know. The nice thing, though, is since it's celebrities, it's all done for charity, and pretty much everyone gets at least $10,000 for their charity when it's all said and done. So that's always cool to see. So Lego Masters, the Holiday Bricktacular, I think is what they call it, or something like that. It's on Hulu. So go
I
check
don't
it out
care
there.
about it, but I know my friend, listener of the show, good old Philbert, he'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, Lego Masters is great. It's the closest American reality TV has come to like the Great British Bake Off, where it's people supporting other people and not a bunch of trash humans just trying to become popular.
We already had that. It's called Face Off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with Nick Cage and John Travolta.
No,
exactly.
Yes, fuck you.
No, I mean the sci-fi competition show.
I said no, fuck you.
Wow, that's not very
good day.
I guess Willie is headed out for the day now. So,
Lachlan,
what you been getting into?
And for today, Jana Roboto, it's 1 2 3 1 2 3. Happy New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's one of those fun days where it's a math sequence. Yeah, it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 day. I've been getting into as I mentioned before, Warhammer for Christmas. I of course asked for we do Secret Santa with the in-laws. And so we also have a group chat where we say what we would like Santa to bring us. And so I gave Jana a list of Death Guard, which is a army in Warhammer 40K. And my mother-in-law got me a full set of paint brushes, which I'm excited to try out. This is one of those things where it unwinds and you have all the brushes in the sleeve. So it's really cool. And then she got me a set of Death Guard Plague Marines. So I've got the guys that are all gross and pustule, and it's all pestilence, basically, as an army that's rotting for the Chaos God Nurgle, which I just think they look cool. And I have a concept that I'm going to do where this is going to be my Agent Orange army. So I'm going to paint them the funky, like dying rust, gross green, but then they're going to have like a neon orange highlights. So that's going to be fun to work on. And yeah, my mother-in-law got me the soldiers, and then the wife got me the tank. So I have my first tank to build. I have a Death Guard Plague Burst Crawler, which is a giant tank, covered in rotten skulls, and it's just gonna be a blast to put together. Like, these things are, they're so much fun. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. And then, my birthday's coming up, so I might be getting some more Death Guard stuff, because that's all I asked for. And then I did play. I wanted it to be specifically one army I hadn't bought anything of yet. I was like, hey, if I get any of these, they're all presents. So when I ask for presents, I don't want to, when you're already building an army, it's hard for someone. It's like comics. Like, the wife can't go out and buy me comics. She doesn't know what I have. So I was like, well, if I ask for just this one army and I don't buy any of it, then anything I get for that army is a present. And so I also took, I won $50 on the scratch ticket. Me and my parents, we just do scratchers for Christmas. We stop buying each other stuff. I get them scratchers. They get us scratchers. We go over there on Christmas morning. We scratch lottery tickets. We have some coffee. We chat. Makes it nice and simple. Adding more crap to your house. They have a house full of crap. They don't want any more crap. So makes it easy. I won a $50 scratcher this year, which I was super happy about, because it's my first year in like 8 years where I didn't get skunked. Almost every year I go over there, I hand my stepdad a scratch ticket. He wins $100, $200. I think one year, 150, and I win nothing. I won nothing for like 8 years straight. This year I won a $50 scratcher, and I turned right around and I ordered $50 worth of paints for that tank. So that tank is going to be built and painted with all supplies that I got from my family as gifts for Christmas, which I think is cool. And then, like I said, I played a Kill Team this month, like 2 weeks ago, with my buddy Colin. He's coming over again next week to play Kill Team on Wednesday for my birthday. And so I went ahead, and this is just the empty boxes. It's all strewn out on my table, but I bought the Kill Team starter set with the orcs and the Death Corps of Krieg. So I've now got an orc army to build, and I've got the Death Corps of Krieg army to build. I've got the terrain. I've got, all the little barricades and stuff. So yeah, like there's a bomb squig, like all sorts of fun stuff in this box set. So yeah, I got this open, and then I've only got a couple days before he comes over, so I had to start on him. So so far I've put together my this is the Slasher Boy. So it's just an orc with two big ass knives. So it's a melee combat character. And then the first one that's in the box that you put together on the list, which is the funnest one, is the Commando Knob, which this is the orc boss. So he's got the big power claw. He's got the little like Cuban defector army hat on, just covered in guns and bits and all sorts of random little shit. But yeah, the orcs are they're going to be so much fun to play. They've got great rules. They have weird ass powers. And yeah, if you've seen any, it's like the Fidel Castro wears.
I thought you meant like Chave Guerrero. I thought you were talking about him. That's
no.
Great. Oh yeah.
Like
I know.
It's like the Fidel Castro hat,
type thing.
Yeah, a little military cap. That's
okay, I was like,
wait,
what?
Yeah, and they're just fantastic. And if you've seen anything of orcs in Warhammer, it's great, because somewhere along the way, when Games Workshop was coming up with them, they decided that orcs are basically soccer hooligans. So like all of the cartoons, any of the voice work and stuff, the orcs are just hilarious, because they're also they're not humanoids the way we think of them. Orcs are actually mushrooms, basically. If you kill an orc, they turn into a bunch of spores, and more orcs grow out of the ground. So basically, once orcs get to a planet in Warhammer, you can't get rid of them, because they are literally a fungus that spreads, and they're all insane. And they operate under like an MC Escher rule set, to where there's lots of psychic abilities in Warhammer. Orcs aren't smart enough to understand psychic stuff, but if they think something will work, it'll work. So if an orc finds an abandoned vehicle and paints it, and then sticks a new steering wheel on, and then like fires it up, it'll drive away, even if there's no engine under the hood, because the orc believes it will work. And so they have weird game mechanics like that.
Richards.
Yeah, kind of. They're Franklin Richards. They make their own reality with their psychic abilities, to the point where there's a battle in one of the stories where they talk about the Space Marines ran out of ammo, and one of the guys stood up and pointed a finger at an orc and yelled bang, and the orc died because all the orcs around him believed he was shot. And so their psychic ability works like Looney Tunes. Like, they can walk across a cliff as long as they don't look down. That's the type of fucking weird ass shit that the orcs can do in Warhammer, and I am super excited to play with them this week because it's going to be fun. And yeah, I have an orc boss. I have a knob. I have a commando knob, and he's got the power claw and the big gun and the cool hat, and they're going to be a blast to paint. And yeah, I can't wait. Kill Team is so much fun. And then yeah, also Tuesday when I talked about earlier with V coming over, I'm going to finally watch Saw X. I bought it on I think my Vudu or Amazon account. Haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's like it's like going back to the origin of Saw, where the movies are all about, John Kramer making traps for people that deserve it, not his crazy ass sidekicks that the movies turned into over the next, 9 sequels. But yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to that. So yeah, I got Saw X coming, and I got a ton of Warhammer to paint. It's going to be another good year. I got lots of figures to make.
Nice. Willie, why don't you finish things up for us? I won't say wrap them up because I know you don't like that terminology. What have you been getting into this week?
Well, I saw a movie that's been on my shelf for years and I just haven't watched it for whatever reason. And it was pretty fucking good. It's called Arizona, starring Danny McBride. Let me see who else is in here. Luke Wilson, Rosemary DeWitt. How do you pronounce her name? Is that it? Rosemary DeWitt?
I don't know.
I know I've heard it, but I hope that's pronouncing it right. Seth Rogen has a small part. David Alan Grier is a part in it. I was like, oh, she has David Alan Grier. D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is in it. If you were interested in any of those people, the movie is called Arizona. Came out in 2018. It is a dark comedy. Emphasis on dark. But the comedy's there. I was laughing. It was like that's not something you should laugh at, but that's funny. Like that, this whole situation is just ridiculous. It's a good movie. Highly recommend that one. And I'm also going to go back and highly recommend Bodies, Bodies, Bodies once again, because if you haven't watched it, that's on you, man. You do yourself a favor. And let's see here. Last night, I did go ahead and pre-order my first Like a Dragon mainline series game. It comes out at the end of next month, like January 26th, I think it said. Oh, there is so much stuff in this game. I don't know what there's a whole Animal Crossing like island like side thing in the game. Like, this is going to be so ridiculous. There's so much they put in these games that play Yakuza 0 and tell me if you don't ugly cry at the end. Like, you show me someone who didn't do that, and I'll show you someone who has no fucking emotion in their whole goddamn heart.
You'll show them a robot?
Exactly. Hell, a robot might even shed a tear. That was sand. Yeah, there you go. AI taking over. There you go. But yeah. Other than that, man, I'm just gonna call. Oh yeah. I started. Let's just say I started making my own custom rugs. Let's just say. And if you're interested in seeing any of them, I believe there is an Instagram account called Rugs by Willie Nelson, if I'm 100% correct in that. And hey, if anyone wants to commission me for anything, hell, I'm open and free. You have to send hate mail at South Porky on Twitter, though. Or contact Rugs by Willie Nelson. Either way.
I'm Googling Rugs by Willie Nelson to see if it comes up.
No, I've already got it. I've got it up. I'm going to bring it on screen just for you guys right here because that's what I'm here to do, is to help. Rugs by Willie Nelson. You got 2 followers right now. Just simple guy making rugs. Message me for an estimate on a custom rug of your choice. And here is some of Willie's works. Now, spoiler alert, we've seen these because Willie's been sharing them with us as we went, so they're pretty damn cool. This was the first one, right? Your PlayStation?
Oh, yeah. It's over there on the floor in the living room.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
I'm not going to lie. That Gengar rug took a lot of effort. Ooh, all that line work.
And that's before Nintendo sues you.
Well, that was a gift for a friend. No money was exchanged.
I'm kidding.
So, haha, Nintendo. You can't sue me when it's something I didn't make money off of.
I mean, they can try.
Oh yeah, I made a thing and gave it to someone. Said, "Here you go. What are you gonna sue me by?"
Sue me for
Hey,
what?
let's not forget you got sued by what's his name, Yuri something, the guy who bends spoons. That was known as the magician who bent spoons with his mind. Let's not forget he sued Nintendo and won. I think he won. Pretty sure he
That's
won.
fair.
Because of Alakazam, the whole design for Alakazam. That was
Yeah.
it. That was so stupid. Yuri Geller, I want to say it is.
Yeah.
Now, I know Yuri because it stands out. Like you don't really hear anyone's name being Yuri, like URI, I think it was. Maybe Yuri with like Yuri Lowenthal, but that's a YURI. But yeah.
Good news, Willie.
Uh-huh.
Naki says 3
Ooh.
followers. She moves at the end of the month, then she needs rugs, hilariously enough.
You moving to North Carolina, Naki? We're gonna be best of friends and neighbors. We're gonna be get on each other's nerves, knocking on each other's walls, saying, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm gonna be Diedrich Bader, and you're gonna be that dude from Office Space that I can't remember his name off the top of my
Ron
head.
Livingston.
Yeah, that guy. And I'm gonna be like, "Hey, there's boobs on Channel 3."
Willie, you got to make your case. You could get her to leave Chicago, she says.
I'll
Make
be
your
the
case.
best, funniest neighbor of all time. Hey, I make muffins. And there's always some muffins for neighbors.
Willie is the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
How'd you know I live on Drury Lane?
Don't dox yourself, Willie.
Is there even a Drury Lane in North Carolina?
That's a question that I can't answer for you. You guys got anything else before we shut this thing down? Was there anything else you were getting into, Willie? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I tried some bacon flavored Cheez-Its,
Interesting.
and the flavor is bacon bits, and it's not bad.
Ah.
I mean, it is distinctly. Oh yeah, it's bacon bits.
All right. Anyone got anything before I start wrapping things up for us?
I'm about to go get into some breakfast burritos. Let's go.
All right. So on that note, we are going to shut things down. Thank you, everyone who did join us as we recorded this live. I saw a bunch of new names in the chat room and names we hadn't seen in a while. But also thank you to anyone that may have watched or listened to any of our podcasts over the last year. We haven't put one out each week, but we've probably put one out most weeks. Life gets in the way sometimes. So thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us on New Year's Eve and joining us throughout the year. And we hope to see you all back in 2024. If you're watching this live right now, it's on in a lot of places, but GonnaGeek.com/live is the homepage for all of the live podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. So head on over that way. You can find our show and a bunch of other shows on the network to help keep you entertained. On that note, I don't have anything else. You guys, anything else for the people before we play ourselves out here?
Let's get crumping.
I was just gonna reiterate what Bachman's better half said because I really enjoyed it. Happy 123 day.
There you go. Happy 123, and we will see you all in 2024.
Next year.
Next year.
Fuck up.
I love that.
Bye, guys.
See you then.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at GonnaGeek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@GonnaGeek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at Incompetech.com.